we don't have one. At home, my wife wants me when I want my wife. We use something called telecommunication, and it's called yelling. Okay. Anyways, honestly, I just got back from China 2 nights ago. Okay, last year I broke my record. In 2014, I've been to 17 countries around the globe. Okay, so you see the world's getting smaller. And I spent exactly 5 days in China, plus a day there, a day back. So 7 days back to back, and I did about a $100 million US project in Beijing for a very fast uprising company, which recently just bought out a soccer team in southern China. So I worked for the affiliate. And then I spent 1.5 days in Beijing over that project, that's what I need. And then also pick a space and design an international school in southern China, south of Guangzhou, and then came back via Hong Kong. I only stayed 3 hours in Hong Kong. Yeah, but I went to Hong Kong 3 times in 2 months anyways. So that's fine. So almost twice or 3 times a month I'm somewhere in the world. The world's getting smaller. Okay, now I've seen a lot of new friends. Half of people here, you're all beautiful people. I haven't seen you guys before. Okay, so just to be sure, let me spend just 1 minute to do a little bit of self-advertising. How's that? As a background, I have 2 alumni here from University of Waterloo. That's where I got my computer science degree in 1972, long before some of you being born. All right, and I got my business administrative degree from University of Toronto after that. Okay, and I've been in Toronto in the business world, actually management, for 18 years straight. Starting with today's Ernst & Young. At that time, it was called Carson Corner. I was the head of the computer department from 1976 to 1980. And then I became manager at CP Limited, Marathon Realty, for a few years. And during that period of time, I got to travel coast to coast about 4 times a year. So honestly, I've been in Canada coast to coast for more than 60 times, end to end. So I've seen a lot of Canada. And after that, I also became director of IT at CIBC. I was actually head of the computer department of Uganda. Okay. And then one thing happened in my life that I predicted, but didn't realize it was so dramatic. It was in 1993. I ran for member of parliament, knowing that I would not win. That's a trigger in my life. Now I know the reason. I need that trigger to completely divorce myself from the business world, from the corporate world, and decided to do what I do today. Okay. Now, so just to get started, I want to share some experience about the one word wealth. Because Hong Kong and China gone through a transitional period, that entire civilization becomes single civilization. Success is money. Money is success. But after seeing tens of thousands of people around the world, and seeing so many things that happen in the world, and experiencing so much in my life, okay, money is important, but not completely, okay, the meaning of wealth. Wealth is health. To begin with, you need that to enjoy your wealth, your money. Without that, you don't have money. Because we come with nothing. One day we leave this beautiful world with nothing. Okay? So health is important. Good relations, a good family, at least a good group of friends. Friends you can trust. That's what this group is about, HKCBA, which provides a good environment for very nice, beautiful people to be together, to get to know each other. Okay? And obviously, love and trust. It's very important in life. So that is what I meant by wealth. And also follow your heart, follow your passion. If you follow your passion, no matter what you do, you will be successful. Do you know one of the most successful men in history who was a janitor? You know who he was? Mr. Hoover. He was sucking up an office dust. Okay? And Father, why the hell would he do that with the broom? And he created vacuum cleaner. And the vacuum cleaner was named after him, called Hoover. Okay? So it can work. So no matter what you do, opportunities are enormous, abundant. It's up to you to grasp that opportunity. And before you do anything, you must psych your mind to something you really want to do. In 1993, I psyched my mind up just for one very simple thing. I will be in the world. That's all. And I didn't tell anyone until now. And you know what? My clients have now spread more than 66 countries, more likely 80 countries worldwide. And people who have come to see me exceeded 16,500 people. To see me, to find out more about their lives, okay? To give them guidance, to save them from disasters. And it's just the one this morning at 9 o'clock, okay, to save them from a major legal issue. And also, people I go out to see, companies, and also individual homes, exceeded 10,000. That means over the past 23 years, I have seen close to 30,000 people worldwide in what I do. And how did it happen? You put your passion to it, you put your best effort to it, you put your heart to help people. Not just for money. Money is important because that's a fee, but it's what you want to achieve. What you want to help people, that's the key. Okay? If you just go there without helping people, without doing something with your passion, by end of the day, you fail. So very important to know. So year after year, we've been doing this is a great thing. Now, so as a professional, I'm a Feng Shui master. The technical term is geomancy. Anybody got my booklet from outside? Everybody got one? You got one? No? Okay. Okay. Now, geomancy or Feng Shui is the same word, but the technical term is geomancy, and that's what my title is, geomancy. It means a way to harmonize Earth, which is geo is Earth. That's why you have geology, geography, geo, okay, that's Earth. Man is mankind. CY is science. This is a Latin ending word, okay? So geomancy meaning a science of harmonizing between Earth and mankind. And that's majority of what I do. The other thing I do enormously is called life reading. Because in our life, two secrets, two codes exist. One code we already know and recognize is called DNA, which is hidden in our chromosome. Chromosome inside our body cell. And the DNA dictates how tall, how short, white, black, clean, whatever color, all the details of our physical body. That's called DNA. That secret is not recognized. Okay? But there's another code. This code, unfortunately, has been abused or misused. And this code is about our entire life, including our location, who we are, our personalities, our relations, our careers. That code is in our daytime place of birth with tremendous accuracy. Okay? And I have done this for some important people in the world, including the two former prime ministers of Jamaica. Okay, I did, for example, Everett Siaga's live reading in November 1996. And in spring of 1998, I did the live reading for Mr. P.J. Patterson, the Prime Minister President of Jamaica at that time. Okay, so with tremendous accuracy, even though the first one I did under the gun, because when I did Mr. Siaga's live reading, I had 6 bodyguards outside the room, each one carrying an AK-47. So I said, you're under the gun. Okay, but that's a fun travel. And the real, a little bit glamour was my major speech at the University of Beijing 3 years ago. Okay, I am supposed to deliver a major speech at Tsinghua University in March this year. But I had a conflict of time because March I committed to go to Jakarta, Indonesia to design one of the major 17 islands. They're going to make 17 islands outside Jakarta. The middle one will be strictly designed by me. In fact, I have a diagram here too for you to share. This is part of the island I'm going to design in person. Okay? That's part of it. The idea comes from Dubai. Dubai. And the major architect is Mr. Thomas Atkins, who designed the Alberto Hotel in Dubai. So he and I co-designed the project. And he and I already did $2 billion US of projects throughout Indonesia. So I did the Feng Shui concept, where things should be, where to build, when to build. And Mr. Atkins would then do the architectural side of it. So that means we have brought not the common Feng Shui that you probably have heard. We took it to the major mainstream. Okay? And partially because of me, I proudly say that. ICI sat back when India came to Canada. I was the one behind the motion. Okay? So all that worked. Now, so that's more than a minute or two of a little bit of history. But every year, the world is governed by certain code, C-O-D-E, code. And my job is decoding. Life between success and failure need not be a whole mile long. If you are ahead by the rest of the book by just what we call a horse's nose, you make it big. Okay, give you one example. Somebody buying a stock. This moment, he make a lot of money. Someone follows suit. 2 minutes later, he may also shoot. Why? Timing. So this is all about timing. And every year there's a secret hidden in the particular year. And it's a whole bunch of mathematics we're talking about. Now to the common folks, 2015 is a year of wooden sheep. So many people ask me, oh, I'm born in a year of sheep, I'm born in a year of whatever, and what does it mean to them? I say it means something to them in general, because to depict the actual individual, you will need the person's year, month, day, hour, and place of birth. It's very complicated. So to do it based on the year of birth, the accuracy, in my honest or humble opinion, 20%, because only 1/5 of the formula. Okay, so like this morning, 9 a.m., the gentleman came all the way to see me from Beijing. Okay, I told him don't go back to China until March, otherwise he would be imprisoned. Okay, so it's very accurate. I predict the precise date, when the problem happened, what happened, and I told him, he didn't tell me. I told him what happened. He was implicated. Okay. But by March, the implication will be over. He will be safe. Okay, so very important to know that. All right? Now, so the wooden ship, why wooden ship? Now, every 60 years, the same sign repeats itself. Why? Because it's mathematics. We govern the particular years by using a formula. On the top, we use what we call the 5 elements. But every element has yin and yang, so it has 10 elements on the top. The bottom line is one of the 12 horoscope signs. When you use mathematics to do the combination, permutation, 10 and 12, the common point is 60. So that's why every 60 years, the same sign like wooden sheep will repeat itself. But it's not just wooden sheep, it's yin wooden sheep. It means a lot, and I'll explain it. But that's not the key. The key is it's also governed by a complete, very deep school of thought that has been around for almost 5,000 years. And I can use that formula to calculate the world's future for the next 1,000 years, year by year, if I have the time. Okay? So that means anything that's going to happen in the future is actually not incidental. It's actually predictable. It's just you need to choose caller to do so. Now, people who listen to my speeches in the past, I don't know, some of you may be here. At the beginning of 2008, I actually wrote a poem and a prediction published in the St. Paul newspaper. Basically, I said, May 2008, there shall be a major earthquake in Sichuan, southern China. And it happened exactly in May. Okay, so it can be predicted. A couple of years later, I said there will be a major earthquake in northeastern Japan with tsunami. And it happened. And in the 2001, I said there would be a major catastrophe in the northeastern part of the USA. And we got 911. Okay, all those could be calculated, could be predicted. So you just have to know the formula, and you have to have two minds in your head. One is a logical mind, since I'm a mathematician, not a magician. Mathematician, that makes it easy. The other is an intuitive mind. That means you can sense things to happen. And to develop your intuitive mind, either you have to be born with, or you have to be very good with your internal training. And I happen to be lucky to have that training from the Shaolin Temple in China. So I'm actually, my other side of me is I'm 20 generation disciple of internal martial arts of Shaolin Temple. So I've been 39 years in the temple, in the training. Okay, so that also helped me develop the part of my mind, the intuitive mind. So you need the two minds. All right? Now, so to govern 2015, the whole world is governed by 6 lines. You see these lines? 2 parts. The first part, okay, is called mountains. The lower part is called thunder. Okay? Now, that means 2015 for the world is governed by mountains and thunder. What does it mean? Now, in doing the I Ching calculation, we are very specific. If you look at it, that solid line, you got 4 empty lines. That means the whole world is going through an entire period of instability. 2 years and 4 years, there's a lot of hidden, unknown enemies. Some so-called friends could turn into enemies. Some enemies could turn into friends. Why would I know that? Because the center point of 2015 is covered by another line. Okay? The first 3 is called thunder. The bottom 3 is called mountain, exactly the reverse of the first one. That means the whole world in 2015 is an upside down world. Will be a lot of disasters, okay, but also going through a lot of adjustments. Okay, and also the line that covers this world is called arguments. And there will be enormous number of arguments between nations. And everybody said they're right as always, and nobody's right, nobody's wrong. It's just a process. Now the first line is China. My prediction is China will go through about 20 minor earthquakes this year. Most of these earthquakes will be between Yunnan and Sichuan. Okay, but not like 2008, not so major, a lot of minor ones. Roughly 20 of them, based on my calculation. Okay? And number 2, China is important too, because now it's the uprising star affecting the economy of the world, so we have to know it. China is going through the first stage of the development of China's modern civilization. China will have to go through 4 stages in the first 100 years. Okay? The first stage we already seen. That's between 1949 and 1970. That's the period that China must focus and concentrate the power in Beijing. That's why you have a lot of crazy things going on, all this concentration of power. And between 1966 and 1975, I did the line chart for the entire country, China, from beginning to the end. And those 10-year period was exactly where the Cultural Revolution is. China could have gone through something worse. So just a cultural revolution, China was blessed. China could have been wiped out in those 10 years. Okay? That's the lowest point of China's current history, based on my calculation. So that's the first stage. The second is called the closed stage. The second stage is called the open stage, which is between 1976 right through to the early mid-1990s. That means the government said, open, do whatever you want, I don't care. As long as you make China grow, make a lot of money for yourself, for the country. And there's a enormous growth. And the major growth began actually in 1984 and on. Okay, that's a cycle. That's a cycle of 7, okay, during that time. The third period we're going through now actually began a little earlier than we thought. Officially began in 2014. And this is a quick one. This is the third period. Third period is from openness back to closeness. All the power back to Beijing. Okay? And then all this nonsense we wiped out to start a new picture for China. The new picture will begin in 2016. And you got another huge boom in China, up to 20% growth in 1 year, in 2016. Okay? So that's how China will work, 4 phases. And then history will repeat again. That's just life cycles, all right? So my prediction for the world is the economic force is still from China. China's growth is a little higher than people thought. My prediction is 8%. 8%. So it's quite high because majority of countries are not. Last month I was in India, actually, for 5 days. And I traveled to quite a few cities in India to get an idea, because I did a Feng shui reading in actually New Delhi for a family. The husband is Jewish, the wife is Italian. They immigrated from Argentina, and they found out about me from Miami. So they went to half the world to find me. So I did it for them and took the opportunity to tour Delhi and tour Agra and tour Japan. Very interesting country, lots of culture, lots of interesting things. No comment about that, okay? Now, so as the world is concerned, the basis there, so China is still going to clean up. This is probably the last major year to clean up the mess, the corruption mess. But when you use the word corruption, as like countries, it exists in every country. It's just a matter of volume. Okay, it doesn't matter how much. Everyone did. When I was in a country, I wouldn't mention which country, we just put down $100 US. We can carry anything we want at the custom. No problem, no questions asked. Just like that, just handshake, $100 done. Not even a lot of money. So China's not bad. You try to do it in China, you'll be in big trouble. Okay. But some countries in the world can still do that. All right? Now, the other place, the opposite place is Middle East. Okay, Middle East will go through a lot of arguments. Never end. Now, because of the Feng Shui setting of Middle East, the deserts, these things had existed for the last 2,000-3,000 years. And it never will end until the entire echo changes. Okay? When the desert becomes green, this craziness will be over. That's my prophecy. Okay? As long as deserts are there, peace will never be there. And it's the men, unfortunately, meant to be. But these people, some of my very good friends are from those places like Iranians, Iraqis, nice girls. So I always hate people generalizing nations. There are good people everywhere, bad people everywhere too. So never ever generalize. Okay, so that's a problem there. So if you ever go to Middle East, so take more precaution. Take my advice. If you don't need to, don't do it. Stay away from it. Okay, there will be more problems with the IS, for example. Unfortunately, this is the way it's supposed to be, especially 2015. Now, the east side is interesting. I'm going to describe the whole world from different angles. Then I'm going to talk about the economy, businesses. Then I'm going to talk about the weather pattern this year, and you can benefit from what I say at home. All right? And listen to me from a scientific point of view, because I'm a scientist. Okay, not a voodoo, no psychic. So don't worry about that. When those people you should stay away from. Seriously, because they can ruin you. Because you get the wrong advice, it becomes subconscious mind, and you can never shake it off. All right, so very important. Now the east side is very important. Last year, 2014, the east side had been below the center. That's why Japan went through so many places tough. But this year, the romance center, the speculative money center is on the east side. Surprisingly, Japan would begin trying to handshake with China and with USA. That's why life is difficult. You become a sandwich. You're caught between two sides. Okay. In fact, if you look at the world from a different angle, the world is the same as China back in year 300, the 4th century. The state of the three nations. Remember China? Today the same. The three nations in today's world, USA, Russia, and China. And those three nations were already depicted in 1960 in the James Bond movies. If you watch every single James Bond movie, USA's last enemy was China. Look at Dr. No, etc. Okay, so they are already implicated long time ago. All right, but the world has not changed over the thousands of years. It's the same. Another thing that has never changed, about year 1000, about 500 years BC, Roman Empire went through a very much so catastrophe. The government went into a huge deficit. Nothing has changed. 2,500 years lapsed. We still go through deficits. So history always repeats. Politicians never learn. That's what it is. And we always vote for people who never learn. All right? So that's the thing. So that means Japan's economy will see a minor comeback. But Japan is going to have a lot of flooding this year. There will be a lot of cyclones, hurricanes, and flooding in that side of the world, unfortunately. So that nature dampens the ambitions to come back. Okay, so that's the east end. All right? So, but on the east coast of China, for example, there would be a lot of that happening too. And the east coast of Canada, like the maritime provinces, would be almost like a repeat of the snowstorms or rainstorms. Very interesting year for 2015. I hope they are listening so they can prepare to have better roofs and the sewage system just for the flooding. Now the southeast side, last year was the argument center of the world. Remember, people were here this time last year. I said loud and clearly, Hong Kong will go through an entire year of craziness and arguments, protests, and it happened. I couldn't believe it. Right on the dot, and it's meant to be. If what happened did not happen, Hong Kong will not be what Hong Kong is. Hong Kong is a fortunate island that gone through many storms and can still survive. Okay, so that's what's going on. But this year, unfortunately, southeast part is the sixth center of the world. Okay, that means, for example, Taiwan and Hong Kong will go through a huge period of food problems. Okay, aviation flus, etc. Food they eat could have problems. So they better do some pre-control before the whole thing explodes. Okay, so that, and also changes going on in southeastern region. But that number is a number 2. The number 2 has a side meaning too. 2 means earth. That means real estate will come back big time in Hong Kong. But also Southeast Asia You know the real hidden financial power in Southeast Asia. Any guess which country? Raise a hand. Indonesia is a real power. Small country, but it crosses over 3 separate time zones. You'd be surprised how wide it is. There's enormous economic power in Indonesia. And if they could afford to bring me there 2 or 3 times a year to do major projects, that means something. I actually designed 4 resorts on Bali Island. Next time you want to take a holiday in Bali Island, you want to stay in a nice resort, every unit has its own swimming pool. Tell me, and I can probably talk to my friends over there and give you a good deal. Otherwise, I think it's $1,500 a day US. For me to go there, for me it's free. For you, I can maybe help them to some Bali Island. But that's showing you how much wealth. The major development in Indonesia will be Jakarta and also Surabaya. Anybody heard of it? Remember the plane accident recently? But that's Malaysia-based, not Indonesia-based. All right? But Surabaya is important. 2 years ago, I designed a brand new hospital in Surabaya. Took them only 1 year to build. In Toronto, it will be 20 years. And that wait time, I told them, if you want me to design this hospital, I want the wait time to be minimal. Now, if you want to do MRI or something over there, the wait time, 1 day. In Toronto, half a year. Okay, and there are 3 machines there. And the head of the hospital, they hired the MD from Singapore, who I actually have to interview. Based on his birthday, I said, these guys are reliable. That's okay. Okay, so lots of things going on. Southeast Asia, so that means even though health-wise there's a problem, financially, real estate-wise it's tremendous. South is interesting. Last year, South was the money center. So you see a lot of prosperity in southern countries. But this year, there will be a lot of problems politically and terrorism and something. And if you read my little booklet, I specifically mentioned Southern Asia, including Siam, including, I can't even say the word, that just happened. Myanmar. Yeah. Okay, and more coming. There will be more problems inside Malaysia. USA is going to help Malaysia develop. I think they're going to lose a lot of money there. Okay? And also the war between the borderline, southern China, that little country, northeast of India, will be in more trouble this year. So if you go to southern countries, including South America, be careful about problems in those countries. Okay? That's because it's war as a problem. Southwest will do quite well this year, so you won't see much problem in Tibet this year, because there's a joy center. The only problem with that region is, for example, southwestern USA, earthquakes and forest fires, dryness, very dry. California is going through a huge year of drought, so they better do something about it. Okay, so southwest side, lots of happening events, but also naturally speaking, not enough water. Now the west side is very interesting. West countries are represented mainly by Western Europe and USA. There will be a record number of terrorist activities, problems, bombings, killings. Last year, those who were here, I also predicted 2 major problems of 2014. Airline problems and knifing problems. If you remember what I said, end up to be a lot of problems with airlines, a lot of people cutting people with knives. That was 2014. Okay. Now 2015, different. More on the instabilities, warring, disagreements, people not trusting people. So if you happen to be in France or UK this year, coming year, please be very careful. Places with tremendous number of people, you better not go. It's safer to be fewer people like countryside. Okay. The more people gathering, those places will be more dangerous. And the same goes with Los Angeles. Okay, and also Oakland, just inside California. Okay, so those are places that are very vulnerable. And USA will be sucked into more problems of the outside world. Okay, because of the West represents wars this year, unfortunately. But by knowing that, you could avoid it. By not knowing that, you could be sucked in. And you don't want to be like one of those people, unfortunately, I hate to say that, who keep losing their heads. Because a lot is going to happen this year. So, all right? Now, Northwest, last year was very uncertain. This year, much better. You're going to see a lot of scholars coming out from Northwestern regions. That also means there could be some outstanding scholars. For example, in Canada, in the native regions, for change. Okay, and also lots of developments in major northwestern regions, universities, and something. The only one problem about Northwest is, okay, also a mixture of unstable earth. So there will be minor earthquakes in, for example, northwestern Xinjiang. That means northwestern China. Now the north side, we're here, Canada. Okay, Canada is right in the money center of the world. So you can argue, wow, oil has gone way down. I didn't predict that one to the point. Actually, the oil going down is, everybody knows without me saying, is 80% political issue, 20% economic issue. 4 months from now, it will go way back up. So it's a momentary thing. So my predictions is in the second half of 2015, oil will go way up. First half, unstable. Okay, giving you a wrong impression, it's going to go down.
So buy your gas now.
Buy gas now, probably. Maybe that's why there's fires. Anyways, put it that way. They say Canada's hurting, Alberta's hurting big time. Hey, we went through low oil prices in history. We just said, why is it so much a hassle now? Because it's a change. When changes come quickly, we as humans don't know how to adapt to it. Once we adapt to it, life is normal. If I can move on, you can promote other businesses. Okay, so very interesting. So it's not as bad as well. So Canada will do well, with or without Mr. Harper. Yeah. It would be a very interesting year, and also no matter which one, they will boost up this country's economy. Otherwise, they will not get voted. So that means we're sitting on the gold mine this year, and the gold mine is called Canada.
Who's going to win? Who's going to win?
So we're doing. Actually, after being to so many countries in the world, I still swear to God that this is the best country to live in. This is the most diplomatic country I've seen across the entire world. And also, not just diplomatic, the most friendly country, the most equal country. You could be a billionaire, you could be a beggar. Out here, it's all the same. Try the same in other countries. Doesn't work. Only here. Every life is so important, so precious. If you're in another country, you're just like an ant. You disappear, nobody cares. Here, people care. This is the greatest country in the world. We are blessed to be here. Yeah. Okay. So North is a money center, and we are here. All right. So don't worry about the gas for now. But don't run out to buy your 8 miles per gallon car. So 4 months from now, you'll be beating your head. Why should I do that? Okay. I still stick to my hybrid. Yeah, still great value. Now Northeast is interesting. Northeast is the moving center. That means a lot of changes. For the next election, the majority of politician changes should be in Quebec, northeastern side of this country. And the political picture will greatly change, okay, which is good for us anyways, all right? So the only problem is I'm predicting an earthquake close to the mouth of the St. Lawrence River. Yeah, in the Gaspé Island. Okay, and we should feel it in Toronto too. All right, so that's going to be very interesting. And I'm also predicting in Montreal there could be a bleach coming down. So next time you go to Quebec, you look at the bleach But that time, you will need one of my very good friends, Chris, to look after it. He's Chris, my good friend, forensic engineer. He will help you determine why the glitch crumbles, not just because I said it. You have to find out the reason behind it. Okay, you're from Waterloo too? Both?
Yeah.
Yes. We have anybody from Waterloo? Wow, alumni, 4 of us. Okay, the best university in this country. We defeated Napoleon there. Did we? We defeated Napoleon in Waterloo. Okay, so that basically covers the way the different countries work. Okay, politically, the key word is change. Change. This year is a year of change, a year of arguments. So the best way to tackle this year politics is seal your mouth and don't say anything. Let them talk it out. Because those who say more will make mistakes. So you will see, if Justin Trudeau is smart, he should shut up. Then he will win. The more he talks, the more trouble he gets. That's for this year. All right, we have this year, 1915 is the year of arguments. Those are arguments most of us. Okay, now, as the business side is concerned, for this year, fire, earth, metal, recovered, water, and whatnot. Now, I got some friends who asked me, how did I predict 2 major metal issues 2014? Number 1, airline problems. And number 2, last year was a record year for cars being recalled, and I said it in January last year. Okay, the reason was last year was terrible for metal businesses. So automobiles, airplanes, all metal, down the tube. And also metal prices also went through the hole. That was last year. But this year, the trend reverses. Okay, I just told my friend in Miami who just opened up a scrap metal firm. I said, don't be silly to sell your firm, stick to it. In just a few months, you'll come back and kiss my feet. You'll be making so much money. Okay? Because metals are going to go up this year. Okay, and China's economy will swing back. They're going to put a lot of money for further development, which would attract tremendous investments from both Canada and USA. Life is never enemies or friends. It just said who benefit who. Okay, so you don't say USA will want to kill China, China will kill USA. It never happens. As long as both sides benefit, they will help each other financially. Don't forget, without China, there's no Walmart, which is the largest company in USA now, surprisingly. So, now what is fire? Anybody can tell me? The most typical fire, high tech. We are going to see breakthroughs once again in the high-tech sector. 2 years ago, Apple went down. Last year, Apple went up. I predicted Apple would go up big time last year, and it did. This year was very interesting. This year, one company will suffer a lot. Samsung. Samsung would not do as well as people thought. There will be more bugs in the Galaxy phone series. Okay? But Apple will kick out more things. But Apple also facing a dilemma. Okay, I hope they are going to correct it. The iPhone 6 Plus may kill the iPad mini. We are both about the same size. Which one do you want? But I noticed very quickly from my wife. I got her a mini, I got her a 6 Plus. She didn't even touch the iPad now. Because it's 6 Plus does everything. So things are happening. And you also see more changes in the entertainment field because of technology. Entertainment is also fire. Okay, so we do very well too this year. So anybody want to be a movie star this year, go ahead. Okay, the fire side of it. Entertainment business should fare well this year. Energies, very interesting. For a couple of years in the past, they said the wind stuff, the turbine would do well. This year is the opposite. Woodbines may run into trouble this year. Okay, and the new trend is actually a big, huge question mark. Huge question mark. Where the energy will come from. Honestly speaking, the eternal is still solar energy. But the major problem with solar energy is how to keep the energy. That's the real problem. Up to now, they use batteries, but batteries have lead. That means a lot of pollution to the environment. So that means it's a catch-22 thing. But this year, we may see a breakthrough about how the energy can be stored. Okay, because where it comes from, we know how to use it, we all use it. How to store it is key. Okay, so that's going to happen. So if you have buddies who develop such technology, thank them. Either they go broke or they become multimillionaires this year. So energy, fire. Now the next one is Earth. For many years in a row, I said real estate in Toronto will continue to go up. In fact, for 2014, my predictions was average 12%, some regions 40%, and I was right on the punch. But what about this year? This year, real estate will go two poles, extreme. Okay, prime areas, you will still see they are still going to be price wars. But other areas, very slow, very uncertain. Now, so that means we may have to suffer maybe for about half a year on the extremities of real estate in Toronto. The catch-up point is around the election time, October. And then we're going to see a huge boom in real estate in 2016 in Toronto. So that means if you're smart enough, 2015 is the year to buy. 2016 is the year to sell. That's how you maximize your investment for real estate. Okay, so real estate, but also in the medical field, most interesting. Because it's also two poles. We are going to see new drugs coming out, so for very acute illnesses such as cancer. Okay, so that means this company should do very well financially if you do investments. But the other side of the pole is that there will be problems with traditional old medicine such as Tylenol. Do you know that if you take too much Tylenol, your liver will be dead? A lot of people don't realize it. Okay, painkillers can kill your liver. Too much of it. So all those problems will surface in this year also. Very interesting year. So the ultimate health is you. You have to make the health for yourself, not drugs. Okay, very important to know that. But Earth will do well, and anything to do with Earth mining, such as a rare earth in China, they're going to make a lot of money. There will be new mines discovered. So last year I said stay away from mining companies. This year you may want to keep an eye on it. Okay. Now, and metals, we are going to see a record year of car sales. Anybody selling cars? Manufacturing cars? No? Okay. But cars would sell very well this year. Huge volume. Could be a record year for cars. Some recalls not as bad as last year. Okay, so this is a change. But last year we really had a record recalls. And also metals such as copper is going to go beyond the clouds. Copper, in particular, more so than gold. Okay, last year I said don't touch gold. This year maybe a little bit, but mainly copper. Okay, and also things to do with steel, just next to copper should do well. So these are investment directions. Now water and wood will be trouble. That means we continue to see airline issues. Not as bad as last, but still there. Also boating issues. There will be major boats sunk this year. Flooding in the eastern regions, plentiful, okay, which can cause an insurance payoff, okay, and also wood, wood mainly to do with clothing. Okay, last year we saw a little bit of rise of the clothing industry. This year will be the reverse trend. They will suffer a bit. So the clothing textile industry, you know that in Canada is dead. You know that, eh? There's no way you can make a set up factory and manufacture clothing. You lose your shirt. Mainly because of two reasons: labor. If you can go to Costco and buy a pair of jeans for 16 bucks, you know, don't do it in Canada. You can even pay for half an hour of kind of workers' fee. Okay, so textile, you can only do import-export, forget about manufacturing here. So at least more widespread in third world countries to make this, and more problems discovered, just such as what happened last year. Okay, got it? So that's on the side. Okay, now what about insurance businesses? Anybody in it? No? Not this group? My honest opinion is everybody should buy life insurance. You know, because I know a lot of people don't realize it. In Canada, you know, there's a law. No matter what happened to you, nobody can touch your life insurance, including your debt, your creditors, and the government. It's sacred. And when you retire, when you get old one day, it's your money anyways. So you need forsake it. So insurance will be very stable for 2015. Okay. Now, as the weather pattern is concerned, I mentioned it, this is a year of a lot of wind. The wind mainly would be on the southeast and the east side of continents. Wind problems. And also a lot of fire. The fire mainly would be on the southwest and northwest side of countries. So in Canada, northern BC. In USA, will be northern California. Will be a lot of fire issues. So be very careful. What about Toronto? Okay, etopical, northern part. Yeah, okay, so be careful about that. Okay, now, so that covers the world just in a capsule. So time is limited, I quickly move to the horoscopes. Unless anyone has any questions, please.
Education, what about education?
Education, excellent. Fire.
How is that?
Education should do very well, but I think this country needs to reform the education system. I discovered that our governments in Canada are not that political. The most political body is the school boards. And also bankers. I think the banking industry, the management people spend more time doing emails to do the CYAs than do anything else. Okay?
Cover your eyes.
That's how it works. I think the education system needs to be remodeled. I think the kids are lost. I've never seen so many lazy kids. I see, because of what I do, I see a lot of families, almost like social worker in a way. The kids are lost. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they do. And they're untouchables. Teachers can't touch them. Parents can't touch them. I remember in our good old days, if I don't behave, I would have bigger bump. And I behave. Today you can do that. You will be in Division 52 in no time. Okay, so that's how it works.
Paul, I have a question for you. General election. Do you see any sign that the general election will be advanced from October to earlier months?
Yeah, very likely. Could be before October. The way I look at it.
Any chance before June? You have to pay for that.
A little bit before, but no matter what, number one, the NDPs from prepare will be wiped out. Okay?
You're okay, Andrew.
Will be replaced by the NDPs. Mr. Harper, now the key is minority government. Because it's 50-50 between PC and Liberals.
Thank you.
And I'm also in the dilemma. Both parties asked me to donate. That's so funny. But anyways, but it's going to be, no matter who gets in, I think it's for benefit.
Let's go to the...
Okay, let's go home so quickly. What year is anybody born in year of sheep? Sheep are born in 1943, 55, 67, 79, 91. Anybody born in 91? No? Too bad. Any sheep here? Raise your hand. Just,
Did you say 67?
eh?
67.
No, yeah, 67. Wow, you're a young girl. Sheep and sheep are the same. A lot of people don't realize whether it's good or bad. Two schools of thought. I would say sheep, the key thing is, the number one thing that stands out for the sheep people this year is the one word arts. If you're a designer, you're a musician, you're an artist, you do marvelous this year. But if you're a gambler, forget it. Okay? And also, pay more attention to health because you get tired, it's easy. Those are the main negative things. Okay, so you have to know it's true. Okay, monkeys, 1944. Okay, 56, 68, 18, 92. 92?
Yeah.
Monkeys actually is divided very extremely, male and female monkeys. By comparison, male monkeys should do better this year, chances of promotions, more money, higher power. Women the same, but women monkeys this year will have to work hard. And if your colleagues or your boss is female, great. If it happens to be a man boss and you happen to be a female monkey, so you have to be a little more cautious, be more patient. But monkeys in general would do well in terms of power, but in terms of people, it's settled with quite a dominant loneliness sign. So if you're a monkey and you do things by yourself, great. If you need support from the group, then you better tackle the important issues by yourself, don't rely on it. Okay? Roosters, 1945, 57, 69.
All of the years.
All the years. Sure you're not 1981? Okay. Not just a number. Just Bob and just laugh. We know each other for so many years. It's exactly one round behind me or ahead of me. Lunage-wise, can you believe this young, laughing, handsome gentleman is 81? And I'm 69.
I'm only 80, not so much.
Lunage.
It tells me this morning I'm 1 year older because it's lunar.
I take the opportunity to tell you why it's that way. Now, in the Western culture, it's the definition of life actually, very philosophical. In the Western culture, they believe life begins at the moment of birth, 0. In our culture, or in my line of work, life begins at the moment of conception. When the egg and the little sperm, bingo, we got life. Okay? And then at birth, we're 1 year old. And also in the Chinese culture, we run up. In the Western culture, we run down. That's why the extremity could be 2 years. For example, right now, as of February 4th, 2 more weeks, I will be 69 in terms of lunar age. But in terms of actual age, I'm only 68. So we share simple. That's the calculation. Not that with BS or something, but it's different based on calculation. But anyways, back to roosters. Roosters financially very well this year. There's a money sign with the rooster people. All right? Mobility is huge. If you're roosters and you sit behind the desk in the office, you want to make a lot of money, forget it. But if you go a lot, you go see clients, you go travel, you go international trading, okay, lots of transactions, and you're a rooster, congratulations. Okay, you can afford to buy me many dinners this year. Okay, so money side with the rooster people, not bad at all. Dogs, 1946, 58, without me saying you already know the year. 82, 94. Okay, anybody born 94? No? 1994. Okay. 99.
1994.
Okay, dog. Now, dog and sheep have a very unusual conflict. It's called legal conflict. So if you are a lawyer, you're a politician, you're a soldier, you're police, and you're born in a dog, 2015 is for you. You do very well. If you're a prosecutor, not executor, prosecutor, you do very well this year, okay? But if not, be careful about law. If you're an accountant, okay, then you better be careful about the books and numbers because you're subject to legal conflicts. So it works both ways. So it depends on what you do. Okay? Pigs, boars, I have rather call.
Good guys.
1947, 59, 71, 1935. Start with 35.
You're 47.
I'm 47, it's 35 years old, that is. Okay. 71, 83. Any boars? Boars are the friendliest of all the 12 signs. You know that? If you examine the 12 signs, boar people tend to have a lot of friends. So, Bob has friends all over the world, so is me. In fact, when I look at my contact list, I have actually more than 50,000 friends. Student-wise, I have 104 disciples, more than 5,000 students that I taught over the past years. Okay, so Boer people typically are very friendly people. Because of the 12 signs, they are very neutral. Boers are into spiritualism. This year, they're very spiritual this year. So if you're a philosopher, wow, you're well respected this year. So boars and sheep people form a golden connection. So they make more friends. Financially, they're very stable. Okay, still make money, but stable is important. But lots of friends. So for pigs, if you're in the business dealing with people, dealing with the philosophy, dealing with teachings, marvelous. You do marvelous this year. Okay, now rats. 1948, 67, 24. The rat already. You can call Mickey Mouse, that's fine. It's a matter of size, that's all. Okay, rats and the sheep have a very unusual connection. And if you're not married yet, and if you're red, do not get married this year. Okay, because red and sheep and people conflict. However, if you are in the business dealing with people conflicts, it works opposite, it becomes good. Or if you're in the medical field, you're a surgeon, you want to cut people, you do marvelous. You can cut animals, but that's not marvelous. That's good. Because that's a blood sign. Okay, so very interesting side for the sheep. People conflicts will be there. So when you deal with people, be humble, listen more, call less. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And also for the sheep people this year, for the black people this year. Okay, ox. Any ox people? 1949, 61, 73, 85, 97. No ox. The number one stubborn sign this year. No. Ox people are actually very loyal, very steadfast people. But because the ox and sheep are opposite, it works 2 ways. If you are born in the ox, be careful. Remember one key word: mobility. When you're in an opposite year, don't stay behind the desk. You got to be mobile. The more you go to meet people, the more you travel, the better you do, because you're in the opposite year. But do not gamble. Stay away from the stock market, or at least stay away from the IPOs. You'll be safer. And you need some help. And the best time to help the ox people would be, for example, rapid people born in here, the rapid can help you. Just one example, or pig. Okay, you need a sign that pulls away the conflict. So ox, don't gamble, don't speculate, but travel more and do more innovative work, creative work, then you'll do well. So it can reverse the trend. Tigers, wow, can't believe it. A lot of time. 1938, 1762, 74.
White
Yeah.
tiger. What about white tiger?
Tigers actually do very well this year. Do you know the old Chinese saying, you send the ship to the tigers? A lot of these sound funny, but what they mean actually is the opposite. That means sheep and tiger people are very good friends. That means you're going to make a lot of good friends. That will also help you in your business, financially, and also a kind of year of change. So if you want to embark on some new careers, some new directions, you happen to be a tiger person, do it. Well, so renovation is a key word for the tiger. Okay? Rabbits, 1939, 51, 63, 75. Rabbits. Okay, one of the sexiest signs of the chart. Okay, now rabbits and sheep. Rabbits actually is the #1 sign that does the best for this year. Why? Rabbit and sheep form a golden connection. That means the controlling power of this year will go and help the rabbit people. You have dreams that you have trouble fulfilling. The last was that great for the rabbit. This is excellent. Okay.
That's what I told my son, is a sheep.
Breakthrough year. Anything major you want to do it. You're into power, and also making money. Power, not bad. Okay, dragons. Wow, almost as many years. Dragons are 19. Okay, 40, 50. All the 12 signs are the #1 most imaginative sign, most creative. You know that? This year, dragons actually would do very well, especially in reputation. And if you're born here, the dragon, you cannot hide yourself in the hay. You got to make yourself known. Write some articles, give speeches, go to the public. Okay, the more famous you become, more money you make. If you are born in the year of the dragon. So this is a year for the dragon to really expand and grow. That's the key word, grow. All right, very important. Snakes, and it's now 1953, 65, 77, the #1 sexiest sign. I say that because my wife is snake. Okay, my wife for the past 38 years. Time flies by. And I married her only on the 13th day that we met. I proposed on the 9th day in the airplane, flying from Baguio to Manila. So she cannot say no. Otherwise we jump. They're showing you snakes are very good. Snake will do marvelous this year. Because snake and sheep and horse form the platinum connection. If you're born here, the snake, you find born in the horse. In this year, the world is on your feet. Good. You do very huge money sign of the snake. And also huge, the #1 travel sign of the 12 signs. #1 travel sign is a snake. So for this year, that means I cannot say no to my wife not bringing her somewhere else. So you have to. Okay, so any dreams you have, keep that word in mind. Go out of the country, go out of the city, and your business opportunities are plentiful. Okay? Now, last but not least, the horses. And the horse, 1954, 66, 78, 90, no horses. Horses are the second best sign this year, just after the rabbit. Because the horse and the sheep form a civil connection. If you're a single horse, you can get married this year. If you are a married horse and still young, you can have kids. So very important year for the horse. The horse year for the horse people, red sheep year for the horse people to really move ahead. So some really good signs for them. I think